why is President Trump skipping the first Republican debate? That's a very interesting question, I think. Trump confirmed that he was skipping the debates. In fact, if you read his statement that he released about the Republican debate in Milwaukee tomorrow, he actually referred to the debate as plurals, insinuating that he's not going to go to any of the debates. This is what he posted on Truth Social. He said, new CBS poll just out has me leading the field by quote unquote legendary numbers. Trump 62%, 46 points above DeSanctimonious, who's crashing like an ailing bird. Ramaswamy 7%, Pence 5%, Scott 3%, Haley 2%, sloppy Chris Christie 2%, Ada Hutchinson 1%. Trump said, the public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had. With energy independence, strong borders and military, biggest ever tax and regulation cuts, no inflation, strongest economy in history, and much more, I will therefore not be doing the debates. He said debates plural. You can see that right there on the screen. So I guess that means it's not just this upcoming debate. And there are some people who are proposing, I saw this on X, some people proposing that President Trump's lawyers dissuaded him from attending this debate because of the possibility that anything related to January 6th, anything related to the prosecution would be used against him, since especially the Georgia lawsuit, I guess all of them, the one or the Georgia indictment, the one in Georgia, the one in Manhattan, the special counsel Jack Smith, they all have to do with his speech. Mostly his tweets, his comments, his speeches. So there's some people on X who are proposing that he's not doing it out of prudence because anything he says about it will be used against him in these open cases. I don't quite buy that. I don't think that that's the reason. There are some other people who are saying that voters have a right to hear from the candidate. They have a right to hear from Donald Trump. They have a right to hear from Joe Biden. Biden, too, is refusing to debate RFK Jr. And let me tell you, that's a debate I would pay to see. I understand this. I do think that candidates have a responsibility to not just present themselves in a package to the public, but to actually allow the public to interact with them, to see them as human and not just as an online personality. My personal opinion on the matter is I wish that Trump was doing this debate. I wish that he was going to be up there. It would be way more interesting if Trump was up there than without him. And I don't quite understand why he wouldn't do it. It's really a no-lose proposition for him because he's very skilled at debates. He's hilarious at debates. That's where he shined in 2016. He's great when people attack him. He's great with the one-liners. He's great with communicating with the American people. In fact, sometimes, once in a while, I will confess to you, I grow a little bit tired of just the back and forth online when it comes to Trump. And I'll be like, okay, I've had about enough of this. And then I'll see him, whether it's at a rally, whether it's at a speech, an interview. And as soon as I see him again in person and hear him talk, see him perform, essentially, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this guy. And it kind of reminds me, it revives the fact that I think that he's a hilarious person. So I don't understand exactly why he's not going. I mean, some people are saying that he's refusing to acknowledge that there are any challengers because he thinks of himself as the incumbent and he doesn't think that he should dignify any of these other challengers from DeSantis to Pence to Haley to Ramaswamy by his presence. That seems like a pretty weak argument to me. The most convincing argument of why he's not going is probably that this debate is hosted by the RNC and by Fox News, both institutions which you could argue have wronged Trump. The RNC, of course, is asking for a pretty strict, I might even describe it as unreasonable commitment from these candidates, a commitment to support whoever wins the Republican race. So what if Chris Christie won? I know, LOL, Chris Christie's never going to win, but hypothetically, what if he won? Is Trump supposed to support him? What about Pence? Is he supposed to support Pence? That's a pretty difficult request, in addition to the fact that the RNC is asking for all of Trump's campaign data, all of his voter data. So I understand that he's not happy with that. Maybe more importantly is the Fox News aspect. Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox because he was, or ostensibly, the most likely reason he was fired from Fox is because he was covering January 6th. And the way he was covering January 6th was factual. It's not like he's on Team Trump necessarily, but when you're on the side of the truth about January 6th, you're on the side of President Trump here. Tucker Carlson was fired because of that. That's a pretty big affront by Fox News against President Trump. So that to me is the strongest argument for why it would be justified for President Trump not to participate in these debates, even though he's very skilled at it. And yeah, the American people do need to see a president in a debate format, but the RNC Fox aspect is the aspect that I can understand he would not want to get involved with. I'm interested in your thoughts. Are you going to watch? He did announce also, President Trump said that he's going to, instead of going to the debate, he's going to do an interview with Tucker Carlson that's going to air at the same time. So we're going to keep an eye on those ratings. I think it'll be interesting. And I want to know if you're going to watch Tucker and Trump, if you're going to watch the GOP debate, or if you're going to go to bed early and watch neither. You can let me know. There's basically a dossier that's created for each candidate. It's like a binder full of stuff. And it's got stuff on their own policy. It's got one-liners that are pre-written for them, all their debate talking points. It's got all the opposition research on every candidate, the strategy for how in this case, maybe DeSantis would talk about Trump or talk about one of his other competitors here. And one of these debate memos was leaked. And it's supposedly a debate memo that was created for Ron DeSantis. I'm going to read this to you. This is from Fox News. DeSantis is denying that this is his, but I don't know if I believe him. I don't really believe a lot of what politicians say when it comes to stuff like this. This is what Fox says. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he's, quote, ready to do what we need to do at Wednesday's first Republican presidential nomination debate to deliver his message and defend himself from rival candidates. The conservative governor also dismissed a leaked debate strategy memo from top advisors at the DeSantis-aligned super PAC, saying that, quote, the memo is not mine. I haven't read it. Among other things, the memo, I think this is what we're interested in the most, not whether DeSantis is denying it, but what was in it. Among other things, the memo urged DeSantis to defend former President Donald Trump. If, as expected, the former president comes under attack from other candidates, the document also urges DeSantis to hammer Vivek Ramaswamy, another rival for the nomination whose standing is rising in numerous polls. I find that very interesting. I would not take that advice. If this isn't DeSantis's, let's just accept that premise for a second. If this was created by a DeSantis super PAC, which isn't technically allowed to communicate with the DeSantis campaign, and so they leaked it in order to get it to DeSantis, that would be a very typical political move. I wouldn't take any of this advice. This is not good advice. He should not attack Vivek. Like, what? What are you trying to fight for second place? He should defend Trump, but he should not talk about the weaponization of the federal government beyond defending Trump and saying how awful it is and promising to abolish the FBI and any other of the intelligence agencies or federal law enforcement apparatuses that have been weaponized. What he should focus on, and this is true of any candidate, I'm not sitting here just giving DeSantis advice here. This is actually, they shouldn't be focusing on each other at all. You can compare and contrast yourself to the other candidates so that the voter knows what you're getting. Like, okay, this is where he stands and this is what I stand, where I stand. But ultimately, this is the Republican Party against the Democrat Party. The vision and the principles of the Republican Party against the vision and the lack of principles of the Democrat Party. And that's where all the visceral, savage mudslinging, that's where it should live. It should live against Joe Biden. Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.